Well, hello, my scary little friends. It's that time again for Ghost Stories Told from the South. I am your host, Stephen LeBooth, with my sidekick, my little vampire, Stephanie,
Bagel.
today. And we do got our studio cat. We got a studio cat now. We've always got dogs, but we finally got a studio cat.
He's mine.
So, a little spooky with the kitty in here. But let's get back to Ghost Stories Told from the South. I am your host, Stephen LeBooth. This is my little vampire, Stephanie LeBooth. She's joining the party. Lexi's still around, but she had to go. She went and spent the night with her friend tonight. But she'll be back for some more ghost stories. Well, I guess we can get on with it, guys. Let's tell some spooky stories. I hope everybody's been having a good week so far. Getting over hump day today. Hope this little episode will help you get through your work day and make your work week a little better.
Dad,
So, if you're ready to be scared,
you better be sitting in the
hit
bathroom.
play. Relax. Don't scream too loud. Don't get in trouble at the work for listening to podcast.
You better be on the toilet
But-
for this one.
We're going to cover Florida today.
Oh no.
I'll probably be cut. Here's my layout for the next couple of, probably my next, I'd say 5 to 6 episodes, probably more. But I got Florida I'm going to do for a little bit, then South Carolina, and then North Carolina.
Sweet home
Well,
Carolina.
let's get on with our first story. It is the Devil's Millhopper, the gateway to hell. There's a lot of gateway to hells around the world. Makes you wonder, how many portals to hell are there? Well, let's get it out now. If this one kind of takes me a little bit, my printer was going out, and my stories are I can read it, but I hold it up close to my face like I'm an old man. So, but our next couple episodes, we will be doing videos to put them up on YouTube. So don't forget about that. And I want to thank everybody. So far, we've gotten 2,500 downloads. That's not bad for doing this for a year and a half. I don't think. I mean, we're averaging over 150 downloads a month. That's pretty damn good. So I like that. And thank you for listening, guys. You are the best. Let's get on with the Devil's Millhopper, the gateway to hell. Okay. Let me move this real quick. I'm going to have to... Oh, that's a little loud. Sorry. Didn't mean to shove the whole thing in my face. Okay. Northwest of Gainesville, Florida, is a gigantic funnel-shaped hole in the ground. Got to get to where I can see the light here. Okay, there we go. That's a lot better. Okay, a funnel-shaped hole in the ground. That is an estimated 600 feet across, 120 feet deep, and nearly a half a mile around its rim. This geological wonder, now owned by the state, is called the Devil's Millhopper, or a portal straight to hell. According to some of the old timers, that's what it's saying. According to some of the old timers, it's the gateway to hell. Here's a story about the gateway. I arrived early in the morning and was the first to break the spider webs the spider webs stringing across the path to the weird cavity. It is amazing that you can hardly see its hole until you are right on it.
Scary.
Until you're right on its rim. So just think about the first people that found its place. Because now when you go there, they got sorry if I'm getting a little loud. I took my mic cover off so I could adjust my light. But I'll put it back on for the other ones. It's just like I said, my ink was going out and it kind of faded some of this. But just think, though, like now they got a staircase. It's pretty cool. Look it up, guys. The pictures. It's the Devil's Millhopper Gateway to Hell, Florida, Gainesville. Anyways, there's a staircase that goes all the way down to the bottom. But just think, when the first settlers started coming there, even the Indians, man, just think of stumbling across that and how many people have fell in accidentally. Because you don't see it till you get right up on the rim.
Like,
Yeah.
Jimmy fell. Everybody point and laugh. Ha, ha.
That's what y'all would do to me. Look at Daddy fell.
Our family's mean like that.
It is amazing that you can hardly see this hole until you are right on the rim. The heavy trees and brush around the edge hides the hole in what looks like bushes. Hiding the opposite side are really the tops of the trees that are growing down in the hole. So when you come up on this place, you see these trees that are kind of tall, but then when you look, they're starting to grow. They're from the bottom growing up, so they're freaking tall. So could you imagine seeing that?
Oh, God.
It would be amazing.
God, you see a witch coming up on a broom?
Not gonna
Axe
find
on a
my
broomstick.
not gonna find my spot. I'm gonna get me a pen, and every time I stop and talk about something,
Highlight it.
I'm gonna mark because I hate that. I always lose my spot.
I have a kid in my class named Mark, but it's not spelled M.
What is that gonna do with ghost stories told from the
It's spelled
south?
Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get off topic easily.
Oh, gotta find a word. Okay. The bush and trees around the hole. Hiding that was okay. The only way to get a full apparition for this geological wonder would be to clear all the trees away. Of course, you would not want to do that because it'd just take away the
hiding.
luster and the hype of it. Among the many weird stories about the hole, the earliest comes from the Indians, because they were like first. The Indian legends regarding a princess that the devil wanted to marry, and to make a long legend short, she ended up being swallowed by the hole. Another tale is supposedly from the 1800s, is about a black pioneer family who were on their way to town with a wagon.
Oh no, that's gonna turn out bad.
With a wagon loaded of cotton, when they saw the hoe open up and gobble down an acre of tall pines, as a preacher once. That don't make any sense. Oh, okay, right here. Was coming out of the. Oh, okay, I missed it. As a preacher once repeated their story, the ground began rumbling like Satan himself was coming out of the earth. Then a big, frightening hole opened up, swallowed trees, rocks, and at least one liquored up sinner. Oh, a liquored up sinner. The Devil's Millhopper was well known in early preaching for eating up a sinner or two, usually drunk ones. A traveling evangelist. An evangelist is basically a preacher, someone that goes around spreading the word of God. A traveling evangelist in a fire and brimstone sermon aimed at the sinners once preached. It's the gateway to hell and that's the devil's own door. So basically, that's the hole either started collapsing. And see, back then when stuff like, now I'm not saying it might not be supernatural. It might be the gateway to hell. You never know. But back then they didn't know about stuff, and then when they seen stuff like that, it was already like, you're okay, just be quiet. They didn't know any better, so they just assumed it was ghost or God, because people go out in the woods drunk and stuff, and they just assume. So I think, this is just me, what I think has happened, because you get a lot of sinkholes. At one time it was level, and then it sunk, making a sinkhole. So when people would get drunk, going through there, and they'd find the hole and fall in it, they'd be like, oh my God, it's eating up the sinners. But who knows? It may not really be a gateway to hell. I don't want to figure it out. I'll go check it out during the day, but I'm dang sure not going to do it at night. The funnel shape of the hole reminded pioneers of a hopper on a grist mill, which held corn as it was fed into the grinder. Well, that makes sense. That's why it's called the Millhopper. I was like, when I first started reading its story, I was like, well, why the hell is it called the Millhopper? I understand why it's called the Devil's Gate, but I don't understand the Millhopper. The hopper.
What's a Millhopper?
Okay. When prehistoric bones were found in the bottom of the hole, people claimed it was a hopper that fed bodies to the devil, thus beginning the name the Devil's Millhopper. It's the hopper.
We have a hopper.
Yes, we do. There are more recent yarns about the Devil's Millhopper, which basically means there's more stories. Probably generated by students from nearby University of Florida that claim a man once fell into the hole and was swallowed up. If that was true, it means the poor soul ended up in our drinking water, since the aquifer is directly beneath the hole's bottom. Well, see, that makes sense too. It might have been a sinkhole, because when you got caverns underneath like that, eventually the top soil will give out on you, and you got a sinkhole, man. But like I said, it might actually be the Devil's gateway. So if anybody wants to go test that theory out for me, do it, because I'm too chicken crap to do it.
But just don't get yourself killed.
There is a wooden stairway of 232 I can't even talk. There is a wooden stairway of 232 steps leading down to the leading from the rim down to the viewer's platform in the Millhopper's bottom. I don't know if you can see, Steph, but that's where it starts. See? It starts up there and starts going down, and it goes down into that hole.
Too.
Yeah. And if it happened way, way back in time, that would explain all the tall trees that's grown up at the bottom and stuff. Okay, wooden stair. I know, because I counted these steps and can tell you going down going down is easy, but it's pretty good exercise going back up. Oh my God, could you imagine going back up them stairs?
Cardio.
Whew. That'll give you a workout.
Yeah, the first time. Oh, I can't do it.
There's a remarkable difference in temperature between the surface and the Millhopper's basin, where even on hot days it remains pleasantly cool. There are 12 springs at the bottom, and a diversity of plant species resembling the flora found in the Appalachian Mountains. That's crazy, because the Appalachian Mountains, that's way far away from Florida. That's over there. I'm trying to think. I want to say West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, I believe. Yeah. So that's weird. You get the same kind of species of plants there that's at the bottom of the Huapa.
They tried digging their way to China.
The real story behind this big cavity, according to the state geologist, is that it's an ancient sinkhole. See, probably formed in two stages. The first about 10,000 years ago, and the second stage about 100,000 years ago. No, wait, 10,000 years ago and 1,000 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. This one's a lot brighter. I don't have to sit here going, I want to. Sorry about that first page, guys, because it was. Oh, wait a minute. That was the story. That was it. Well, I got so into the story, guys, I was like, all right, let's see what else they say. So, there's the story about the devil's.
Sinkhole, basically.
Well, it's the devil's
Gate.
Millhopper or the Devil's Gate. So if you live in Florida and you've ever been there, email me. Tell me about it. Take some spooky pics and email them to us, and we can put them on our Facebook page. So yeah, that's another thing too, guys, with these stories I'm telling. Excuse me. If it's around your neck of the woods, man, send me a story or a experience you had or some pictures. Hell, even if I'm not talking about anything in your area, anybody listening to me around the world, send some pics if you got them. We'll display them and show everybody. Because we like the ghost stories, Jenny.
Are you talking about Ashley's ghost one here yet?
No, we have some, but not a whole lot. Sometime I need to get her back over here. Okay.
And Simone's bar.
We are still in Florida, and we are going to go over the Everglades of Florida, covering nearly 2,000 square miles of southern Florida is a freshwater marsh known as the Everglades. There are tales that this area is home to a number of mysterious creatures supposed to inhabit it and include it and supposed to inhabit it and live there. The Indonesia tribes speak of some lesser known creatures. According to the Seminoles, the Amanio witches and the werewolves roam the swampland. So we got witches and the wolf man down there. Ow!
It's Minecraft, but in virtual real life. My dad calls Minecraft Squarecraft.
Well, this is ghost stories told from ghost stories told from Minecraft. What the hell? This is the ghost stories told from the South, not Minecraft stories.
Yeah, but there's witches of Minecraft.
Stigina is also called in I can't hardly pronounce that for crap. And I know you can't.
Never mind.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I was about to go.
Ishiginta or Stigina. Anyways, we'll go with Stigina. I can say that one. Or senator shapeshifters. And if you don't know what a shapeshifter is, they can go like they can do a dog, wolf, snake, anything, and then even go back to human form.
And they can go to these nuts.
Steph,
Sorry.
come on. This isn't comedy hour. This is why I don't let you come on here much, because you get too giggly. Okay, now you made me lose where I was. They got shapeshifters and all that, which usually resemble a massive great horned owl with dark, menacing eyes. Well,
See,
that's the picture, but it came out messed up.
see that in your window at night.
Could you imagine seeing that owl come down and swoop on you?
Oh God, no, Jimmy.
During the day, they appear as ordinary people. See, once the sun sets, they transform into a 9-foot tall feathered being.
Ah, I don't like that.
This occurs through vomiting their souls and internal organs each evening. Wow, it sucked to be a shapeshifter. You gotta throw up every night.
I wonder how skinwalkers feel.
By the night, the hunt for the victims. By night, they hunt for victims so that they can eat the mortals' hearts to take on their appearance. So that's how they get to shapeshift. They gotta eat the heart of an animal to become that.
Oh.
These entities and essentially zombies whose souls extents is the consumption of human flesh.
Tasty.
I love human flesh, and flesh loves me. It's all about me.
Don't be like that William guy.
Although
I love nature and nature loves me.
all the translution of the stigina means horned owl. They can also take on the appearance of other animals. One rare occasion they resemble bears, wolves, coyotes. Certain Seminole groups warn that speaking their name aloud puts you at risk for turning into one. So great. Now since I'm talking about this, I might turn into a goddamn shapeshifter. But I can't because I got to eat their heart. So I'm safe, I hope. Other communities threaten the mysterious lure more casual and even use the fable to frighten children into behaving good. Well, yeah, because I know when I'd hang around my Mexican friends and stuff, their mom would be like, "It's time to come in. You better come in. The chupacabra will get you." Or if I'd be out at my grandpa's or something, playing around in the woods, my parents would be like, "You better get in here. The boogeyman get you."
Skinwalker, they come creeping through your door.
Similar myths are shared by various cultures around the world. In Mexico folklore, the Lechiza is a large magical bird who seeks revenge on those that have wronged her. In West Virginia has the legends of a mysterious winged humanoid who is said to be an old omen of impending doom. In the Greek mythology, speak of Streak, a wicked vampiric search owl forced to live in upside down world. Other Native Americans believe that the Thunderbirds had supernatural strengths and powers. That is one thing I've noticed with a lot of the Indian cultures. A lot of them believe in the Thunderbirds.
So is this kind of like, or like these birds connected to the Mothman or no?
I don't know.
Maybe. We'll have to look into that.
Here's another messed up word I'm going to try to say. Sorry if I'm butchering these Indian names, but it's Hackchako Tecumseh,
Jolie could tell you.
also referred to as long ears, is a werewolf-like beast that wanders the disenchanted marshlands by moonlight. Eyewitness accounts state that these beings are donkey to ox-sized. Oh, that's just saying how big they are. They're saying they're as big as a donkey or an ox, and has a fusion of both deer and wolf features. That's crazy. mixing a deer and a wolf.
So it's basically an ox,
It'd be-
donkey, deer, wolf.
It'd be deer wolf. I got deer wolf, man.
Look where they come,
Hey,
Billy.
it's deer wolf season.
Oh my gosh. Hey, come on, Billy. Come on, Jane. Let's go, Billy.
Dang it, I didn't mark down my spot.
Um,
Okay. Longer than legs support their long, thin legs support their oversized hawked paws.
that's where you got your chicken legs from.
Yeah, I am a shapeshifter. Well, no, I'm that's owl, I guess. At the end of the long ears or gray fur covered body is a bushy horsetail. What the frick? So this goddamn freaking spooky ass animal is like half freaking deer.
Donkey, deer,
No,
ox.
you're comparing size, Stephanie.
Oh.
It was what? Oh, here we go.
Deer,
Wolf and deer together, and it's got a fucking horsetail. What the hell?
Breeding season be like
Dude.
2.0.
That's a retarded creature. Sorry for
Ow.
saying retarded. Didn't mean to offend anybody. But that's a messed up creature.
I want to be that creature.
Those who encounter this creature describe smelling a foul odor. Now, that's one thing I have noticed with a lot of these creatures in the forest that we don't see much, like
You have it all-
Bigfoot and like the dog man stories and stuff like that. They all have a certain smell. I've noticed that with a lot of the stories.
Matt has a certain smell.
Yeah, that's because he eats poop, though. When they are within close proximity, similar to many reported smells, this pungent scent is a fragrant sign of its presence. The Seminole Indians were continuously to never were cautious to never get too close to the long ears because of its ability to affect people with deadly diseases. Despite horrifying appearances and dangerous nature, he is not believed to be mean or attack you. No, he just scare the crap out of you. Think about it. You're walking in the woods. You see something that has like an owl freaking ears and a wolf deer mix and a freaking horse's tail.
So basically, it will probably have a snout like a dog or a wolf, antlers like a deer, the body
Yeah.
like
It kind of reminds you of a messed up Witico.
yeah.
Because the Witico, remember that
Wendigo.
show? What is it? Is it
Wendigo, I think.
Wendigo or Windica or Wendigo? Anyways,
If you know the right.
go back in our archives, back in our older stories, and we talked about that. That was one of our first big specials we
Have
did.
y'all talked about Deer Man yet?
I don't think so.
We'll have to cover that. Or y'all will.
The Florida's monsters of yesterday have been replaced with viral modern day alternatives, and curious people could have mysteriously been describing their own bizarre encounters in an area before the internet or cable TV was around. Roughly 200 species are going are going extinct each day on Earth. And it's entirely possibly the unknown animals that lived in the Everglades for centuries ago. What's even more interesting is that possibly some of them have survived. Well, it's kind of like the oceans. The oceans are so deep.
Oh,
We
yeah.
don't know what's down there. We're still discovering animals and stuff. Well, it's just like the myth the sailors used to always say about the big not the octopus, but what's the other?
Kraken?
Yeah, but it's squid. Yeah. And I'd say in the past 20, 30 years, they've had these big old dead things washing up on the shore, so they are real. So that's pretty interesting. And too, man, there's so much woods in America.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many woods everywhere. I mean, look at the Brazilian forest. That's so thick. Man has not went and mapped the whole thing out and discovered, and went and looked at each thing. You know what I mean?
Our woods are like if you looked on it from a drone, it's a quarter because they cut back to build houses back.
Yeah.
It made me mad because I would go deep into the woods sometimes.
But yeah, now we're trying to get on the earth. Stick to ghost stuff, not Minecraft, not tearing down woods. This one ought to be good. If I can ever get the computer, it'll be working with me. But it's wanting to be retarded. Sorry for saying that. I got a bad habit of saying that. I don't mean to insult you. Okay. Now we're going to go over some real ghost stories in Disney's Haunted Mansion in Florida.
I heard about this one.
Okay. The rumor has it that years ago a woman approached Walt Disney saying that one of her sons had been killed and that he had absolutely loved going to the Haunted Mansion. Every time they went, she said it'd go like 4 or 5 times. I mean, that's just where he had to go. Well, she asked his permission because she wanted to spread his ashes in the museum. But Disneyland, of course, said no because they can't, be doing that. So the woman got on the ride and at some point dumped the ashes out anyway.
Ooh, I'm telling.
Whether this part is true or not, I can only guess, my friends. But that's the story. So what do you believe? But here comes all the weird stuff. The weird stuff started happening after that. Once as guests were getting off the ride, they reported to see a cast member and unloaded that there was anyways, they told a cast member, basically one of the actors, like, hey, there was a little boy running around in the ballroom scene. So the cast members that worked there would send security to go check it out and look, but they never did find anything. And that happened on more than one occasion. People to get done with the ride and be like, dude, there's some kid running around in the da-da-da room,
Billy, get back here now!
Some have said that when they asked him if he needed help, he acted like they weren't there. Some have even said he disappeared. Of course, by the time they tell the workers about the boy and they go check out, there's nothing there.
He went poof.
It gets even creepier. The part of this story I have confirmed. Well, this isn't me talking. This is just something I got off the internet. So I haven't actually confirmed anything. But this person telling the story is.
Remember your quotation marks.
I have confirmed with a friend who worked at the mansion. I mentioned these haunting stories and he freaked out, saying it had actually happened to him too. He was glad to hear he wasn't the only one going insane. I mean, think about it. You're working there and you see this little boy every now and then. You're like, oh man, should I say anything? Because what if they laugh at you? What if they're like, you're a wiener head? Anyways, he was glad to hear, like I said, that he wasn't the only one it happened to, that he wasn't going insane. Late at night, cast members will often only run... where'd I go? Well, run one stretch room because it gets so quiet. That means that between groups of guests, the workers at the load is all alone, just waiting for people. So basically, they're at the station. It starts in one part of the mansion. Cast members load them in. They go through the ride, and these people sit at the other end, waiting for them to get there to get them out of the ride. That means that just waiting for Well, one cast member was waiting for the next group of guests when she thought she heard a child laughing. She figured the next group had arrived and kids were coming, but no one ever showed up. Wow. She had to run to the bathroom after that. She could hear the kids, but no the train wasn't coming. The train or the cart, whatever they ride on, wasn't coming. Then she saw something move out of the corner of her eye. She turned to look, but didn't see anyone. So she put it off as it was just her imagination. However, she saw it again and again and again, but no one was ever there. Well, about this time, she starts feeling a cold chill and is getting kind of freaked out. All of a sudden, she feels someone put their hand on her shoulders, of course, and no one is there. She screamed and ran and told management she was never coming back again. I don't blame her. I'd be like, I don't need this job that bad, sucker. But yeah, that's the legend of why the ghost is there. Some people, the story goes that the mom, spread the ashes, and because there's never been anyone that's died in that building or anything. So makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
It was all that
Now, see, this is what I mean, people. And I'm not trying to knock Google, but I got all these stories off DuckDuckGo, and I'm already 36 minutes into my podcast, and I still got a pretty good story right here that's going to take us to about 55 minutes. So that's all I'm saying. If you want to find some good research on stuff, use the DuckDuckGo search engine. You get more stuff. And I just did 6 stories this time. No, 4. This is the 4 one. Because remember how me and Lexi's stories have to do like 10 just to fill in 40 minutes on Google? All right, let me get a drink of water.
Google is a good. Yeah, I really like Google, but sometimes it can be a little.
Yeah, because you can't find crap. You can't find the truth sometimes.
You can find a picture of things, but not like the definition.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what I got for story number 4. Okay, story 4. The Devil Tree, Florida's first serial killer and the haunting he left behind. Found in Port St. Louis, or Lucie, Port St. Louis, Port St. Lucie, the Devil Tree is a big oak in a county park on Channel C-24. See, there they have a lot of channels, and that's like a creek. You know how we have creeks here?
I thought you meant literally a radio channel.
Yeah, a channel's a man-made.
Like Lake.
No, a creek, Stephanie. It's a creek. It's a man-made creek, basically.
Oh, I knew that.
Anyways, a mighty oak and an ordinary tree. Nothing to write home about, except the fact that the thing might as well growl and snatch up little old ladies and unexpected kids and gobble them up and throw them back from a grimy fairy tale. Oh, a throwback from a gimme fairy tale. The Devil Tree has an evil, macabre, and incredible blood-soaked reputation. On that it's entwined with Florida's history and its amazing capacity to attract the worst of the worst humanity has. It attracts the worst of humanity has ever seen. And today we're going to discuss the Devil Tree and its hauntings and its lure. Appropriately, the hell spawn that created it. Dun dun dun. And
that's a whole different song.
Oh, you're a whole different song. Okay. The story of the Devil Tree begins on January 8th of 1971. Way before Hammock Park, where the mighty oak now stands, was created. The tale begins in a most bloody and shocking manner when a serial killer sexually attacks and mutilates 2 teenage girls. The monster, after having his fill with the 2 girls, hangs them from the oak tree. He then buries the two victims in a shallow grave underneath the tree, only to return numerous times later to have his way with the Gross! Basically, this guy raped and like killed these women and then dug a shallow grave and then would go back and do his. I just lost my appetite. That's gross. The man's name was Gerard John Schaefer. The homicidal Broward County, Florida ex-policeman, though convicted in 1973 of only 2 multi-murders, is believed to be responsible for at least 30 more killings. A satanic sex beast by nature, Schaefer would lure young women off the road with help of his badge, because he was an ex-cop, to rape them and torture them multiple times and then murder them. Man, what a sick... No wonder that place is just so haunted. See, that's what... I mean, people don't understand when tragic events happen like this in a house or an area. That soul of that person's stuck there.
Oh, yeah.
And it always haunts. To say Schaefer was a tormented soul would be an overstatement. The man was a monster.
Mm-hmm.
The sort was very presents, makes him anti-death sentence zealots rethink their stance. Schaefer began approximately with bondage. He would start out with bondage, and then he would do other stuff. And this is kind of gross because I have kids that's age and a daughter around this age. He would always get girls around the age of 12. The man would inform his state or whatever, his state person, that he loved to... Oh, this is, I guess, him telling his psychiatrist when he got put in jail for all this, that he would love to tie himself up to the tree and get sexually excited by the lack of... Oh, my God, freed... Ugh. I'm sorry if this one's a little rough, guys. I didn't know this guy was such a freaking sicko. Anyways, he would get off on getting tied to the tree and be like, oh my God, I can feel a sick freak. Schaefer would hurt and pleasure himself thinking about assaulting women at a very early age. God. Schaefer's earliest childhood memories were that he described to be a lady mainly because his sis was a favorite by his alcoholic and abusive father.
That sucks.
By the age of 14, Schaefer had a sweetheart named Cindy. Their relationship was sordid and strange. He would make her take part in role-playing fantasy stuff and that revolved around raping, acting like he was raping her. Then in 1966, the man entered the priesthood, and he was rejected because he lacked faith. I wonder if that was the case. He's a sick freak. God can't even fix him. By now, Schaefer was a ticking time bomb. That same year, he enraged, faithless, and going down That same year, enraged and faithless, he was going down a black hole. The bomb exploded. By now, Schaefer had graduated to animal cruelty. And if you think about it, they say Jeffrey Dahmer, that guy who he ate people, that's how he kind of started as a kid. You know, torturing animals and stuff. Schaefer was so angry that he just quit the Catholic religion and allowed his inner demons to run amok in his head. The bomb went kaboom, and Schaefer decided to start his true calling. He became a professional serial killer. And see, look at him. He looks like a normal dude. That's what happens. It's normal dudes. That's why I don't let you walk away far from the house. Everything came to a head on that fateful year of 1966. On October 2nd, 1966, Nancy Lesiner, age 20, and Pamela Nater, age 21, were having fun with their boyfriends in the Alexander Springs Park in the Ocala National Forest. While the boys dove and played in the lake, the girls went out for a stroll. Their bodies turned up, molested, and choked, and a couple of hours after, their boyfriends called in cops and a manhunt started. Well, they didn't know that they were messed up and like that.
That sucks.
They were Schaefer's first victims, and he had gotten away with the deed, and no one even looked at him funny. He wasn't even a suspect. Schaefer turned to law enforcement as a profession, granting a platform at the end of 1971 at the age of 25. Okay, so this sick freak tries to be a Catholic. He can't do that because he ain't got no faith. Well, then he starts killing. He's like, fuck it, I'm going to be a cop. Okay, the spree continues. Schaefer was convicted of only 2 murders. We will get to those, but the investigators would later uncover a slew of possible victims, missing reports that were mostly likely part of Schaefer's handiwork. In prison, Schaefer boasted of killing more than 30 girls and women. The man who became sheriff's deputy of Martin County, Florida, he would prowl these streets and byways of the state using his badge to attract his victims. He was a charming and oftentimes generous person, and his demeanor worked for his advantage. So he would keep this clean-cut look like, hey, I'm a cop, I will help you. And then he ends up killing you. Yeah, in the face.
What?
Only on July 21st, 1972, Schaefer plucked up from the streets 2 teenage girls named Nancy Trotter and Paula Sue Wells. Both were hitchhiking. The next day, he kidnapped them and took them to a remote woodland area and tied them to trees where he threatened to kill them or sell them into prostitution. He was about to get rid of the girls when his radios went off and he was called away to police emergency. He left both girls tied up and presumed to return. Miraculously, they managed to wiggle out of the bonds that saved their lives. They wiggled out, and that saved their lives. The girls were aged 17 and 18. They escaped from the ropes and ran to the nearest police station. Ironically, their kidnapper's own station. So that's the station where he was the boss of, and he worked.
Oh no!
When Schaefer returned to the girls and discovered that his victims have vanished, he called his station and decided that he had done something foolish and went on a long-winded explanation telling the other sheriffs that he had simply pretended to kidnap the 2 girls in order to scare them silly. Schaefer's boss did not buy it. Schaefer was stripped of his badge and slapped with a battery of charges. Somehow, in spite of everything, Schaefer managed to post his bail and was released from prison. 2 months later, on September 27th of 1972, Schaefer abducted and tortured and butchered Susan Place, age 17, and Georgia Jessup, 16. He buried their corpses right underneath the now famous Devil Tree in Oakham Park in Port St. Lucie, Florida. See, that's why areas like this is haunted. This man was a sick freak, and this is where he did his handiwork. God, that's so weird. Months later, after Schaefer had beaten the rape for a kidnapping, he beat the rap for somehow he beat it by when he kidnapped that lazy Impala. He got off of that, and anyways, the autopsies revealed that both girls had been tied to a tree at some point, and in further investigations turned up documented eyewitness accounts that the girls were known hitchhikers and that there were too many similarities. A warrant was issued for Schaefer's house. In Schaefer's Bordeaux, the police recovered violent stories he had written down where he in full accounts of the torture and rape of the women whom he did all that stuff to. And there was a diary full of his victims. Even more dementingly, the experts found a person's people's personal stuff like jewelry and stuff like that, and sometimes teeth from at least 8 young women and girls he had gone missing in recent years. Schaefer was charged with the deaths of Palace and Jessup. In October 1973, he was pronounced guilty and given 2 life sentences. Officials soon declared that he was linked to around 30 missing girls. No wonder that tree in that area is so just... Then in 1995, on December 3rd, he was found knifed to death in his cell. Fellow inmate Vincent Riviera was sentenced in 1999 for a stabbing. All right, now here is what happens at the tree. So now I see why I told the story to tell you what happens because of this. How many women were tied and killed on the Devil Tree is still up for debate. Nonetheless, many believe that the Devil's Tree is permitted with darkness and Schaefer's feared into the world. It is a skin-crawling local tale full of nasty things and supernatural events. Okay, here's some stuff that happens there and all that. Satanics, I don't know how to say that. Satanists heard about the killings and chose the Devil Tree as a new sacrificial place and meeting place. So not only the girls' spirits there, these jackasses are like, hey, let's go worship the devil there. Idiots. Stupido. More than 4 women and counting have been found in the nearby area, many showing signs of have been tied up and chained to the tree and violently abused. Seeing that's weird because it still goes on.
What?
Yeah, even after he's been dead and gone. There are countless reports of hikers hearing odd sounds and singing through the pines and the oaks.
Never going to Florida again.
Well, I'm not going to go to the freaking Devil's Tree and go on a picnic, I'll tell you that. Excuse me. Hooded figure... Can't even talk. Hooded figures are known to prowl the area. Sightings of these strange hooded features have only swelled during the years. The trails have become anomalous. In many cases, vegetation has been ceased to grow in certain patches.
Vegetation.
That means plants, trees, nothing grows in some spots. I wonder if that was the shallow graves he built. Okay. The area is filled with ghost sightings. Many believe it's the spirits of the victims of Schaefer that haunt the forest. Folks have also taken pieces of the tree. Listen to this, Steph. People have taken pieces of the tree and say a branch or bark often comes to some sort of misfortune immediately afterwards. So that means don't take anything from the tree because you're going to get some bad luck. Something bad's going to happen.
Oh, it's like taking a leprechaun's gold.
Yeah. It's been described that the screams of the young women can sometimes be heard through the forest from nearby bathrooms. Because, it's a forest and they got the hiking trails and they got little rest areas, with bathrooms.
Oh,
so... if you're ever around, if anybody's living in Florida and knows about that story around there about the Devil's Tree and all that, take some pictures, send it to us. Or tell me your experiences or something. That'd be cool. But I don't know if I'd go there hiking. Just saying, guys.
Oh, God, you're on the crapper. Oh, you hear in the background?
I'd be screaming just like the ghost. Well, guys, I hope you well, let's do some shout-outs first. I want to tell everybody thank you for listening to the show. I know our members keep growing and all that. We've got close to 55 members on Spotify. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I know everybody's like, that's not a lot, but to me it is because I'm just a little old country boy doing this. Yep. So I want to thank everybody for listening to us and always downloading, subscribing, giving us 5-star reviews. Thank you for listening to us around the world, man. We're getting heard now in 13 countries. So, stop it. So, just want to thank everybody for that. And, yeah. Oh, and don't forget now, we got some other podcasts, too, y'all can listen to. There's Borderline Texas Trash. That's mine. It's more of an adulty kind of podcast. Wouldn't listen to that one with the kids. Then we have What's Really Out There with me and Steph. Well, that's Stephanie's. She talks about UFOs, conspiracies, mysteries, unsolved murders that are just really weird, stuff like that. Then we have Wrestling 101 with Jackson, where we talk about the past and present of wrestling. And we've been doing interviews with some of the local wrestlers that come to town to wrestle. And there's one more show I just came out with. I'm doing it for football season, and I'm going to continue to do it. It's called When Sports Collide, football and wrestling. So check them shows out, guys. That's all from the Booth Production family, baby. But I hope you have enjoyed this evening of ghost stories told from the South. I am your host, Stephen LeBooth, and this is my sidekick vampire, Stephanie LeBooth, and Little Bagel, our studio kitty. Meow, meow. So, I'm glad you guys listen. I hope you have a good day. Keep being nice and keep being scared, guys. We will see you later. Bye-bye.